Look, I don't mean to take you back, but how much did you spend on that wall, Yavonda?
I think he came up to like 25 grand.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I was mad at you for a while.
Oh, no. Essentially, when you have an assembly space next to an adult daycare I-4 space, that is like one of the biggest clashes ever.
I would just assume it's similar to a daycare center for young children, but for older people on the other end of life.
With a child daycare, you are dealing with persons who, have not yet fully formed their opinions with the adults. My guess is it's a much different world.
All right, I want to welcome everyone to another episode of the DREAM BuildCast. Today, we actually have an exciting topic to talk about, but first, let's introduce everyone. First, we have Devon Ellis from Ellis Engineering and Construction Management Services, a good friend and kind of not a jack of all trades, just very, very skilled in multiple categories: structural engineering, civil, construction management. I'm pretty sure I'm missing about 37 other items on his resume. Then we have Alex Walker, which is from Dream Key Partners. He is definitely one of, we'll actually talk about this in a little bit. He was the plan reviewer that reviewed all of my plans back in the day. And also, but now he's a developer, actually pretty much an architect now, does a whole lot of other things. But those are the things we'll talk about today. And today we're actually here with someone in which he reviewed plans for when he was actually a plan reviewer. And we'll just talk about you right now, Yavonda from Guardian Angels Adult Day Services. Basically, Alex reviewed your plans, correct?
Yeah, in 2018.
2018. Talk
Seems
about
like a lifetime ago.
Indeed. Indeed. It's funny, right before we kind of went official, it was like, where are you now? But we won't go into that. We won't do it. We won't do it. But yes, Yavonda is actually on her second adult daycare. And just to let us know how that's going. How's the adult daycare world going for you?
Busy.
Okay.
The first one filled up, so now it's time to move on to the second location.
Wow. How many clients do you have right now?
25.
Got you.
But my space is very small.
Was your original goal? How many? I can't remember how many we were planning for the first time. Look, not to bless you out, but never mind.
Not answering that.
No, but you said 25 though?
Yeah, but
Okay.
they're not all full time, so
Okay. You hear that? Look, you hear that for the record. They're not all full time. You can't come hunt her down. You can't come. No, I got you. So just in general, like what would you say is like the life of someone that owns an adult daycare?
In general. Lots of paperwork, lots of phone calls. I don't have as many meetings, but I do have lots of paperwork and phone calls.
Okay. Got you. Alex Devon, what is you all's pre-perception of the adult daycare world from the owner standpoint? This is look before Yavonda actually schools us. What do you guys think is the actual like life of the adult daycare world? Like, what is she concerned about?
I really don't know. I mean, I would just assume it's similar to a daycare center for young children, but for older people on the other end of life. That's how I would assume it would be.
Okay.
Operate between 8 o'clock and 6 or something like that, maybe.
Okay.
And
It's interesting. I mean, it's something I always find a little bit interesting that in a number of instances, with a child daycare, you are dealing with persons who, have not yet fully formed their opinions and idiosyncrasies. And then you with the adults, my guess is it's a much different world. I haven't been involved in a number of adult daycare from the technical side, but actually observing the operation, I haven't. And so it was always interesting to me to actually hear what, especially as compared to a child daycare, how the operations differ.
So then, Yavonda, how about you kind of walk us back to the beginning? Why did you even choose to open an adult daycare in the first place?
I hated my previous job.
Oh, so what did you do previously?
I was a program director.
I got you. What type of programming?
Yes, and I hated it.
Oh, yeah?
And
Okay.
prior to that, I kept getting laid off as a social worker.
Ah.
And one day I was sitting outside my job crying.
Mm.
And my mom's friend at the time, she's like, "What's wrong?" She stopped. She saw me outside crying, like, "I can't do this job. I hate it. I don't know what else I could do, but I can't do this." She gave me the idea. She's like, "Well, why don't you do adult daycare?" And I never thought about adult daycare because I've been a social worker, program director pretty much my entire career. And I started looking into it. My first building was a flop.
So when we met, that was building number 2?
Correct.
So how did the first one flop?
The foundation was bad.
Oh, literally, like the building.
Yes.
Like, literally.
Literally.
Not the business.
Yes, the foundation was bad on the building.
Just so I understand, you're using flop here to mean the building fell down, or are you using flop to mean the adult daycare did not materialize because of the foundation?
I walked away from the building because of the foundation.
Okay, gotcha.
What the structural engineer had to ask. Okay.
No, I walked away from the building because the foundation was bad. The owner wanted me to fix it. I just said that's not something I'm willing to do, and I walked away.
Okay. So then walk us through, now you are looking for a space, looking for a building. What was that process like?
I went on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
I saw 𝗚𝗂𝗃𝗄𝗆's place. And I'm like, because I was looking for a bigger building at the time. I'm like, let me see how this is going to work out. I didn't know if it was going to work out or not.
So are there special features you look for in the building?
I didn't know. I was the newbie in this whole situation.
Okay.
So, and I'll tell you, like, I worked backwards in the first building.
Okay.
But nope, I wasn't looking for anything. I just know I couldn't go back to that job. That's all I knew. I was like, I can't go back to this job.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my husband and I, we pulled all our money out, our 401k. We pulled all the money out we could. And I was like, I can't go back to this job. It had to work. I ended up finding that building. I called the number that was on Facebook Marketplace. And he was like, yeah, you can come see it.
Okay.
And when I go into buildings, there was 2 things that I was like set on. Was the landlord willing to fix anything? Because remember, I had a building that the landlord wasn't willing. He wanted everything to be on the tenant. Was he going to fix anything? And how was his lease structured? Those are the 2 things that was going to make or break this deal for me. So I ended up talking to him. He ended up giving me 3 months free.
Oh, okay.
And no first month deposit.
Oh.
So I ended up signing a lease. It was a no-brainer at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The space was really small. So I'm like, okay, let's see how this works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I tried.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. And you said this was in a space that was previously used as a check cashing?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. In a strip mall or an independent building? Was the building separated or in a mall?
It was a strip mall next to a restaurant.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and poke that bear right now then. So what was let me ask the dumb question. How did that impact things?
Oh, that 2-hour firewall. So we got down to the plan examination, went to BOZA, did everything, all the things that you have to do. And then after BOZA, Nick was like, something isn't right, and him and the contractor went down to city, and next thing I know, we're building a 2-hour firewall.
Yes. So at what point did you say, hey, I need to contact and find an architect? What was that? Because we kind of blew past that part. Because like, you're looking for a space, you found a building, you actually signed the lease first, correct?
Yeah, I signed my lease first, which is why I say I did everything backwards, because I should have found my architect before I signed the lease.
Gotcha.
I went back, I went down to the city. Now I have this lease. I'm going down to the city to see what I have to do. I didn't know what I had to do. I couldn't go back to that job.
I got you. Look, that was the motivator, the make or break. I got you.
Yes.
Nope, 100%. So the city told you that you need to grab an architect then?
Yeah, they told me I needed an architect before BOZA
Gotcha.
application. They gave me the application, the $500 fee, I think it was then.
Okay. So now you got your architect. We went through, finally did our code analysis, and we figured out that you need a 2-hour firewall. And that's because I-4, right? Because adult daycare, there's no, like in regular, not regular, in child daycares, if you have certain parameters, you can be a E, right? Well, in adult daycare world, there's no such thing as a E adult daycare, right? It's always I-4. So, right, Alex? Look, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, there's not the provision in the for adult daycares for educational uses, because at that stage in life, you're not thinking about being educated, right? So
100%, you're hanging out. So then, essentially, when you have an assembly space next to an adult daycare I-4 space, that is like one of the biggest clashes ever. So what Yavonda had to do was fire separate herself entirely from the restaurant next door, which was the entire length of the space. You had a long, skinny space too. Like this is like the entire length of the building, and you have 12 foot.
This was a firewall or a fire barrier?
Separation. So not a firewall.
Oh,
no,
okay,
it didn't go through the roof.
Fire barrier.
Right.
So then, yes, barrier. Yeah. So then, and I mean, what? Ceilings were like 12 feet below ceiling, like 14 feet above ceiling. So this is a monster wall. It's like a monster. Look, I don't mean to take you back, but how much did you spend on that wall, Yavonda?
I think he came up to like 25 grand.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I was mad at you for a while.
Oh, no.
That put a dent in my budget, but
yeah, because like we had to do basically a shaft wall, because the restaurant was on the other side, so we couldn't touch anything on the other side of that wall. So
And I take it this building was unsprinkled.
Yes, no sprinklers in this building.
no sprinkler.
And luckily, the space on the other side of you was unoccupied, right?
No, it already had the firewall. It was the brick wall or whatever.
Oh,
it
that's
had.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that one might have been a firewall on the other side of her. And then basically, and Yavonda, when we say firewall, that means the actual top of the wall goes through the roof. So then it's almost like a separate building. So
Through the roof, it has its own foundation.
yep, there we go. Oh yeah. So then, because that was one of the first instances where you have to use the 1-inch drywall with the CH channel and everything. So it was like a literal, like one-sided installation. And there's a lot of material. And the contractor I think you were working with, he wasn't like super unreasonable or anything. He just had a good amount of work to do. So that's how that cookie crumbled. So, but once you got, and you had plumbing on that wall too. That's where your bathroom was plumbed into that wall. So we had to
I think that might have influenced the price.
Yep, because we had to get all that plumbing out of that wall, put in a false wall in front of it. Mind you, was it just one bathroom or two bathrooms?
Yes, one.
Yeah. So it was just kind of one of those like worst case scenarios. And Yavonda was looking at me real crazy, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, And mind you, we had Alex, so Alex was being super logical. He's like, well, that's the code. Like, and this is me going, yeah, that is the code. So, that just kind of happened. But you actually did the work, so kudos to you. Like you said, you're not going back, right?
No.
So you did the work. And then you were operational, right? I mean, you guys painted the space a lovely blue. I mean, the furniture was great. I mean, she did a really good job on the interiors. And I didn't even know this. You guys hung up a plaque for me. I just recently found that out.
Meet the architect is in the front of the building.
Yeah, I had no idea until
Great.
recently. I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. It's like, that's cool. So, okay. So now you're operational. Do you remember any of the other zoning or code? Like when you went to BOZA, were there any type of issues or anything that was like stands out as far as you were going through BOZA that first time?
Were your neighbors opposed to your operating a daycare there? Was the alderman supportive of the building being used that way, or was the city troublesome?
The alderman never responded.
Huh.
I did write the alderman. They never responded, so there's that. The plaza was pretty much vacant when I
Gotcha.
started.
That's right.
Yeah, so it was
Mhm.
only the cognac liquor store. Was it? It was a sandwich shop, and then it was H&R Block. And it was a kids daycare that was in the plaza at the time. It was other, I think, and then it was like a fight. I don't remember. It was like a fighting place next door to me when I first began, but then he moved out.
Okay. So the no response from the alder person actually allowed you they just don't respond, so there's no harm, no foul there, right? Because they're not opposing it, right? So almost like no response is just as good as a yes, right?
I did call them though. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did call and I wrote a letter. So
okay. So you did your due diligence at least.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's super cool.
It becomes an issue when they don't respond. If there's a neighbor that's opposing you, i.e., and then you don't have the alderman to at least say we support this. So then it becomes an issue. But if you have nobody going in to oppose you, then the alderman not responding is probably a good thing.
No, absolutely. Now you're going back through the process because now you're in plan review. We've already reviewed the comments. We've resubmitted drawings last week. So walk us through kind of the process now that you're seasoned, you've done this before. Walk us through the process of opening an adult daycare. I mean, I know there's the whole BOZA and stuff. That's more so the building side. What are the other things that are associated with opening an adult daycare?
After BOZA?
I imagine you have to interact with the state with respect to obtaining licensing, right? With the Department of Health and Safety.
So after you get your occupancy permit, you'll have to apply with the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, you have to wait until after you get your occupancy permit. Yeah. Lord, that's why you were saying that you had there's a little bit of time. Okay. Okay.
So you have to wait till you get your occupancy permit to put in your application to the state of Wisconsin to operate. After that, you apply for contracts. So different MCOs like iLife, Iris, Community Care.
What's an MCO?
It's a managed care. So they that's where you get your clients from.
Okay. And is that state regulated or what is that? Or are those private companies? Is that just a classification for? I know you just named off a few.
Yeah, they're individual private companies.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, but they're just all under a category, and then you apply to get client. Okay.
Yeah, you apply for their contract, and then you can. That's how you get your funding. That's how you get paid, basically.
Gotcha. So, what post occupancy permit? What kind of a timeline are we talking about here?
The last time I did it, I did all of my applications at one time.
Okay.
And it took me for one of the applications, it takes 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
And it depends on the contract. Some of the contracts, they have to come out, view your building. They need a bunch of paperwork. And then they sit down, talk to you about your policy and procedure manual.
Okay.
In some contracts, they just want you to send all your paperwork in, they review it, and then they get back to you.
Okay. And that's more so just, sorry, go ahead, Alex.
So are you constantly looking for contracts to fill the space, or how does that work?
For myself, I'll be honest with you, I have not advertised since 2019 when I first started. Most of my clients have came word of mouth. A handful of my clients have came from other social workers that I've built relationships with. So I have never really advertised, to say the least. I don't even have a sign on my building.
So when you're doing, so what are your hours? Like, what's the operation? Are you from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock? And what do you do with that, with the people, your clients, once they get to your space?
So my operation is 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. We offer breakfast, lunch, and 2 snacks. So from 7 a.m. to roughly about 9, they do their breakfast because they're staggering in. Everybody comes in at a different time. Everybody has different hours. Everybody want different hours. So that's just how that works. Then after that, they do an activity. After their first activity, they have morning exercise. After morning exercise, they do another activity. So I'm keeping my clients very, very busy. One, because I don't take a lot of older adults. So without taking out a lot of older adults and taking a younger population, if you don't keep them busy, you're going to have a chaotic space. And we already in a small space. So after morning exercise, they have snacks. After that, they get an activity. Then it's lunchtime. After lunch, they have story time. I have story time because I cater to a different population.
Okay.
And it works. After their story time, then they have another activity, and then it's snack time again, and then they have their final activity. We typically do like a free time between 3:30 and 6.
So you're programming.
Correct. Yeah.
Said to you, look, you were the programmer, right? You said social work and programming. She said, no, we about to run this thing.
In fact, that's an interesting concept to me, because your licensing folks, how do they? I mean, do they readily allow you to choose what kind of clients you want, or do they say as a licensee you have to take people whom they consider as part of their program?
So it's what you put in your policy and procedure manual. So if you put in there that you only take adults 62 and older, that's all you'll take.
Gotcha.
But you have to do whatever you put in that policy. So if you say that you're going to be flying kites every day, you better be flying kites every day.
I guess.
So you also have the ability to acquire that all of your clients are ambulatory, or are you able to select your clients at that granular level? We want only ambulatory clients. We want only clients between the ages of X to N, that kind of stuff.
So it's basically how your facility is set up. There are some facilities that are ambulatory only because they didn't do the non-ambulatory portion of the BOZA. Because again, you got to do all this stuff with BOZA and plan reviewing. You can't just decide one day, I'm gonna take a non-ambulatory, and you don't have the dip in the concrete, or you don't have a ramp, or you don't have the doors aren't 36 inches wide. You have to have all of these things in order to be non-ambulatory versus ambulatory. You can decide your clients. My process, I do a free trial day. I do not take clients unless they come in and they fit in my population. If they don't fit, if they do the trial day and they don't fit, they can't stay. I have learned that our money is not good money because you put these people into a space they don't fit in. Trust me, you won't sleep.
Right. You mentioned the ambulatory, non-ambulatory piece. Now, the building codes require that if you're making alterations, you have to make a certain level of upgrades to the building for disabilities. So, for example, ramps, if you're doing certain kind of work, or if you said the space you use was at one of these cash stores, was more
check
a business operation. You're right, a check cashing place. Normally the building codes require that you have to make that fully ADA accessible, right? So you wouldn't then have the option of not making the space accessible. You should be able to take both ambulatory and non-ambulatory people. It should be upgraded to wheelchair accessibility. So I am a bit surprised that you're able to go into a space that you're modifying and still be able to have the building not totally accessible. So I'm a little bit interested in how that one played out for you, because
Yavonda doesn't have to worry about that because she's a storefront at grade with a front and back exit with a 36-inch door
already accessible.
Absolutely.
Yes. So it was already accessible, but I have been into buildings that weren't accessible. The bathroom wasn't, and the doors weren't.
So they're probably not doing change of uses though, I would imagine.
So the building that I was looking at previously to the one I just got, it was already adult daycare.
See, there we go. That's Devon. That's how that gets stuck through.
And it's not ADA accessible.
Yeah, you didn't have a change of use, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was looking at. So if it was already accessible, then yes, you're correct. Like you don't have to.
So then from an operational standpoint, though, as far as the type of application that you're submitting, your policies and procedures, whoever you're going to be servicing, I would imagine from your standpoint as the owner and as the operator of that business, that has huge implications for you though, right? Because if you're having people that can't, that are non-ambulatory, isn't that more of like, is your staff and are you set up in order to actually care for them?
So in my policy, they have to be able to pivot.
Okay.
In order for me to accept them. I don't have Hoyer lists. We don't even have the space to hold a Hoyer list. But I also only have so let me clarify though. If they have a walker or a cane, they're considered non-ambulatory.
Really?
So, yes. So I have about maybe 3 clients that are not ambulatory.
Okay. But you can actually sounds like you can be more specific as far as to what level of non-ambulatory you care for based off, like you said, the equipment that you have.
Or your policy, because like I said, if you put in there that you're taking non-ambulatory and you're not specific on that, they're going to expect you, like if you got a contract, they'll call and say, hey, I have a client that is in a wheelchair. They need a Hoyer lift. If you don't put in there that they need to pivot or whatever, they're going to keep calling you. And if you don't, if you're not able to accommodate that client that they're requesting, they won't renew your contract. It's just things that, this provider said that they accept non-ambulatory, but when I call that they won't accept this one because they need a Hoyer lift.
Got it. Okay. That makes a ton of sense. So now that you're opening the second one, obviously, you kind of know all these things. Look, this would be a good question for you because you have like that, that hindsight now, and now you're actually in the process, and it kind of happened at a time where the code changed on you, right? Look, the second time Yavonda's got mad at me. What are some of the challenges?
You mentioned the code change. I imagine you're referring specifically to the change to the 2021 version of the IBC.
Yep.
So are there significant changes in?
Oh, for Yavonda, there were.
Use the I-4.
So this time around, we need a shower.
Yep.
An ADA shower at that. In one of the bathrooms. And now they're saying, well, when I did it in 2018, that for the record, they already gave me my occupancy permit as long as I'm in that building. So just so everybody knows. But they gave me they gave me my occupancy permit for, I think it was like 23 or 24 with one bathroom. Now they're saying you got to have 2, 3, 4 bathrooms for how many people you have in the building. So, yeah.
And they were actually, we found the provision in the code that saved her from needing pretty much the billion bathrooms. But
what's that provision?
Well, the original argument that the plan reviewer was making was that, hey, you have, and remind me of the number of clients that you're serving, 45, right?
45.
Okay, so 45. You have 45 clients. So what I'm going to do is divide that number into 2. You need 1 fixture, 1 sink, 1 toilet per 15 people. So if I divide 45 in half, it would argue that you need 2 for women, 2 for men, right? But in actuality, we found the provision in the code that these do not need to be gender specific. And indeed, the 3 bathrooms that she had would satisfy the 45 clients that she's serving, or the 45 occupants. So we found a provision in the code that basically specifically stated that that you don't have to be gender specific, and indeed that entire number can be divided. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to, like,
I follow.
You saying like divide it in half, that's not the case. It's I have 3 bathrooms, I have 45 people, there's 15 people per bathroom, and because otherwise they were trying to get her to install a 4th, which she has like this, it just, please, no.
It just won't work for the layout.
No, that would look, no. We're already installing the shower, which we had to actually, there was how the clearances are set up in front of the shower. We even had to modify that as part of the comments from the plan reviewer. It requires a larger clearance space now in the new code. In front of the shower, and they can't overlap other things like the toilet clearance and stuff. So we had to swing that shower around and take up some more office space. Yep. And then the whole vestibule thing. So they want obviously the direct exit, which a vestibule, they don't count a vestibule as a direct exit. So, and then we had to figure out the whole 3,000 interconnected square feet. If you have more than 3,000 square feet in that first space that's inside that exit, you need a vestibule. So we were trying to work through that in the code of, sorry, are you talking about 3,000 square feet for the entire lease space, or are you talking about 3,000 square feet within the airlock zone? You know what I'm saying? Where you open the door and now you're exposed to 3,000 square feet of space. So it was a few things that, we worked through, and we made our assumptions. And we resubmitted. So we're waiting, right? Because Yavonda was like, I'm not putting another door in the front facade, okay? It's a brick building. And she's on the lot line on the side, so she can't go out the side. She would have to literally create an alternate, so we took out the vestibule. And we're assuming that the 3,000 square feet is meaning like the actual space you're opening up to, not like way back in the back of the building. You know what I'm saying? Where you have like lots of walls and doors. But yeah, what are some of the other challenges that you kind of ran into this time around, or was that kind of like the only stuff?
Contractors, that's always been my issue. Finding contractors that don't put me in the middle of projects.
What do you
I
mean?
need a like my first contractor at my building, my current building. He took me on as a project, but he would do other projects in the midst of my project, so it delayed my project significantly.
So he'll work on yours a little bit, then leave, and then work on yours a
And
little
then
bit.
he'll leave
Okay.
mine for like weeks without even
Oh,
touching it because
yikes.
he's doing another project. So
Oh,
I'm very specific as far as the contractor that I did hire. I'm like, hey, if you're gonna put me in middle of projects, I don't even want to work with you. Like, let me just make that clear. So I'm clear up front now more than I was last time because I didn't know.
okay.
So now that I know, I'm like, put in our contract a date that you'll have my project done, and we both agree to it, and then we'll move forward from there. And then I know exactly what my expectations are, and you know exactly what your expectations are.
Mm-hmm. No, it's super smart. Okay. Anything else you can think of?
As far as like
Just
problems
challenges.
and issues,
Yeah, she had any challenges. Look, I'll ask you words of wisdom in a moment. But yeah, any type of challenges or anything with opening adult daycares at this point?
um, I will say that you need a significant amount of money.
Look, what are you spending that money on?
I'll go through everything from the lease. That was a huge chunk. The architect. And if you have a good architect, they're going to charge a decent amount as well.
What?
So yeah.
Architects that don't charge fees? Oh, so bad. So bad.
So you got to have that. If you don't have any 2-hour firewalls or sprinklers, you got to pay for that. That's very expensive. That's probably your most expensive expense.
Maybe a little bit of clarification that that it's either you plan for that or you choose a building that is fully sprinklered, or you choose a building that is adjacent to one for which you don't need that kind of separation.
Yeah, but those are single buildings and single standing buildings. And I find that most buildings don't have either or. So that's just to be honest and upfront. I've been through a lot of buildings. Most of them don't have either or. And you have to put it in. You have to put either or in.
Okay. And then having that direct exit to the exterior from that primary function space, that saves you from the sprinklers, correct?
I don't know the answer to that.
Look, that's the reason why we're taking off that vestibule.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because otherwise,
I'm like, wait, I don't know the answer to that because remember my last building didn't have a vestibule, so I didn't.
Yes, that's
it
correct.
wasn't an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is because it's much bigger and yeah, I didn't know that portion of it is new for me.
Okay.
But
yeah. So look, fun fact for those listening: if you have a direct exit at grade, which means you walk straight out that door, you're outside. There's no steps, there's no fuss, then that was what they consider a direct exit to the exterior, and that's one of the provisions in the code that says, all right, if you have this, then you can avoid fire sprinklers. And I'm not saying that's the only thing, but that is one of the major things that, Yavonda basically did a change of use this time as well, so all the new code provisions applied, but she has adequate exiting in general. It's a very large front space. And ultimately, we even had to Fernango, we were thinking that we were going to have clients all deep in the building, right? They're like, nope. You get the front space where you can literally directly exit out, which is super important if you don't want to fire sprinkler the building. Yeah.
And that's very expensive.
I would imagine so. Especially in a strip mall.
And they already have 2-hour firewalls in that building, so that's why I'm like,
yes,
no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that was another thing. They actually already had a 2-hour fire separation installed, which I was like, what? That never happens. So that was great. It is a steel frame building. Just, metal steel tube columns, metal trusses, metal deck. So definitely of the not immediately burn it down category, right? As far as materials. So yes, that I would imagine those are helpful, but you still fit into the type 3 construction. So
Right.
it doesn't really matter what you build with. Essentially, as long as your exterior walls have a certain fire rating, you can kind of build with whatever you want inside. So it's about your separation. So those are the things that save you. And now we're, like I said, that direct exit was the only last thing that kind of keeps you on the other side of needing fire sprinklers. I know you mentioned the whole standalone building. Let's just poke that bear for 2 seconds. Having a standalone building obviously eliminates any type of conversation about being adjacent to anybody in firewalls, correct?
Yes.
So why, but you said are there not a lot of standalone buildings? Or I guess why wouldn't every adult daycare would just be like, hey, I'm just going to get a standalone building?
For me, I didn't get a standalone building because the rent. Commercial spaces are expensive in general. But when you got a standalone building, you're the only person in the building, so the rent gets higher.
Got it.
As far as purchasing a building, I just don't want that responsibility. And that's just my personal preference. Everybody has a different personal preference.
100%. Okay. Gotcha. No,
and I'm trying to keep my budget down. And I've done this before, so I know how slow it can take. It's just been after COVID, I went from a full house to 0 clients. So I'm trying to make sure like I can sustain with a certain amount of clients in this building, making sure that I can, pay my rent, pay my employees, pay myself if I have to. If I can't pay myself, which is fine, I've been there.
Gotcha.
But I need to be able to operate at a certain budget.
Got it.
With it moving slow.
Okay. That makes a ton of sense. Okay. So then, words of wisdom. Are there any words of wisdom you would provide somebody watching this, somebody looking to either open, someone operating, in whatever comes to mind? What words of wisdom do you have in regards to adult daycares?
Do your research. I mean, it's not get rich quick. It's not even get rich. You got to actually love what you do. I don't know how many times I still go in there and wipe people, clean them up. I still do CNA work. So you got to remember that is what you're signing up for. It's not just, we're doing activities all day. We're not. We still have to toilet people and care for them. And I really have a passion for it. So if you don't have a passion for it, I don't like people that come into this space that don't have a passion for it and just want the money. Because at the end of the day, these people, I really care about my people. So I don't like to see operators just doing a half job.
Okay.
So my words of wisdom is just do your research and see if it's something you're going to actually enjoy.
Okay.
Because people like seasoned owners can tell if you like your job or not.
Super fair. Super fair. Alex, Devon, do you guys have any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No, just that I finally got some insight into the nuances of adult daycare, some of the mysteries that that were swirling in my head, as to how they operate. Is not very, because adult daycares are they're newer than child daycare, right? The whole adult daycare business is a little bit newer, or no? Or is there more child daycares around?
Well, I think like one of the bigger ones, like St. Anne's, has been around for years. There's not that many. That's why you don't hear about it a lot. And now I see why it's not that many, because of how long it takes to build and all the codes the city take you through. That's just the reason why, I believe. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I get from it.
Alex, any thoughts?
With any building, do your research.
Yeah.
Don't sign a lease before you've done your research.
100%.
Look for that space and contemplate whether it makes sense for your operation.
100%.
And I definitely agree with that. Like this time I did my research. I called the architect before I even signed my lease. I made sure that I went in the building several times with architects, and I had Nick himself look at the building and structure. I even went down to the city to see um, what do I need to do to get this in operation. But I will say that's where I made a mistake at the first time, and I didn't want to do that the second time, especially because it's a larger building, more money going into this one, and it's just I didn't want to work backwards.
100%. No, that makes total sense.
And it just dawned on me that it makes sense that an adult daycare is going to be a bit more restrictive to operate in comparison to a child daycare, because of the fact that with a child daycare, you have the ability to operate within an group, an educational group, while you have no such ability with the adult daycare. So, you're strictly strictly institutional, which means much more restrictive code requirements.
100%. Yep. And I would say, look, all these things, and I'll just iterate one of Yavonda's comments of don't be afraid to go get an architect, and like she said, if we don't suck, we might charge you. I mean, but it's for good reason, because what depending on your lease, you could blow my fee in a month, depending on what size building, or look, I don't know what you're paying for lease each month, but I'm pretty sure 2 months would cover me. So it's super easy to monkey around for 2 months on a project and then figure out you need to even put more money into it, right? So just know that all of us design professionals, and Yavonda has iterated this, like, we're here to help. We're here to literally help you do what you're trying to do. So that would be my thoughts. Just don't be afraid to come ask a question at the very least. Cause we had plenty of conversations prior to you actually, getting under contracts. I think I even looked at that building and was like, hey, do they got a 2-hour firewall? Do they got this? Do they got that? You can always ask those questions and figure that out pretty quickly before you even dive into it. So I just want to thank Yavonda for all of your time. I know you have lots of things and lots of responsibilities to adhere to. So I do appreciate you taking the time. And then Alex and Devon, as always, I appreciate you two being those masterminds, helping us unpack all these things, asking those interesting questions, pointing out the things that I have no idea what we're talking about. So that's always fun. I would just say until next time, let's look. Until next time, I just want everybody to have a good one, and just stay blessed.